Police in Turkey have recovered a Bible thought to be 1,000 years old.
The ancient manuscripts with golden inscriptions.
Year-old biblical scroll fragments have now been excavated from caves.
In Turkey, police found a very old Bible believed to be about 1,000 years old. This discovery is causing a lot of talk among Christians and atheists all over the world. This isn't a regular Bible. It holds secrets and stories that are now being shared with everyone. What's written in this Bible? Why is it important for religious people everywhere? Let's look into this mysterious book called the Book of St. Barnabas. Christians have grown up hearing stories from the Holy Bible. But now there's a book that's making people question some of those stories, especially about how Jesus died. This book, said to be from St. Barnabas, was found with other old items that thieves were trying to steal. The book is very old and made from animal skin, making it very special and worth a lot of money. This old book was written in a language close to what Jesus spoke. Experts think the book could be over 2,000 years old, but it's not just the age that makes this book interesting. It's what the book says. Inside, the book tells a different story from what most Christians believe. It says that Judas, not Jesus, was the one who died on the cross, and instead of dying, Jesus went straight to heaven, alive. This book, the Gospel of Barnabas, changes a lot of what people thought they knew about the Bible. This new version of the story is making people think and ask questions about their faith. Now everyone's talking about what this means for Christianity. The discovery of this old Bible is a big deal because it offers a new way to look at old stories. In this newly found Bible, Jesus is not called the Son of God, but a prophet who brought God's message. It also says that the Apostle Paul, known well in Christianity, was a fake. This is surprising because St. Barnabas, who is thought to have written this book, was close to Paul. This causes many to wonder and ask, was something wrong with the Gospel of Barnabas? People think that when the New Testament was being put together, the leaders picked certain stories and left others out on purpose. They may have left out Barnabas's story because it didn't match their views, or because there's no story of his death in the Bible. This makes Barnabas unique among saints. This mystery Bible has made many experts take a closer look. Even the Vatican has shown interest. They say this Bible is real, not fake, which has answered some doubts people had. But there's more to the church than we often hear, like its ancient writings in a big archive at the Vatican that's 53 miles long. This place might have records of events we don't know about yet. And now, here you are. And if you want more discussions like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button because you're not alone anymore. The usual Bible starts around 1000 BC with stories from Moses and includes famous tales like the Good Samaritan and Jesus feeding a crowd with just a little food. Even though we've printed about 5 billion Bibles, the very first ones had more books than we see now. What do you think was in those extra books? This discovery has raised a lot of questions because 14 books from the first Bible are missing in the ones we read today. People are starting to wonder what secrets the church might be keeping hidden. This has led to more people looking into old stories, especially those about strange creatures that many find fascinating. People are really interested in these old, mysterious stories. They talk about demonic possession, where a person might act in ways they can't control because of a demon or spirit. People who say they've been possessed often talk about forgetting things, not being able to control themselves, and hearing voices. One of these demons, Valak, has become famous in movies, but in old texts from the 17th century, Valak wasn't shown as a nun but as a powerful being who could control many serpents. The Lesser Key of Solomon, an old book, talks a lot about Valak. It has spells, secrets about nature, and old wisdom. There are many other beings like Valak in different stories, but we don't hear much about them anymore. Some think that there are books hidden in the Vatican that tell more about these beings, but we might never get to see them. The stories about these hidden beings and their connection to old texts are really interesting and make people want to learn more about the unknown. In places like Italy and Ireland, experts in religion say that more people are worried about demonic possession now than before, but they also say we should be careful not to confuse spiritual problems with other issues. Father Dino from Sicily, who does exorcisms, says the church is still figuring out what to believe about exorcisms. He says it's important for those who do exorcisms to be well trained because they can make mistakes. Father Collins from Ireland has noticed more Irish people asking for help with what they think are demonic problems lately. What do you think about these ancient texts and the stories they tell? In the New Testament, there are stories where Jesus throws demons out of people who are suffering from evil spirits. Catholic priests think there are different kinds of possession. Obsession involves unexpected, irrational thoughts and harmful desires, often troubling people in their dreams. Victims of entities might black out and do things they know are wrong, leading them to bad luck. Full possession is when Satan or another demon completely takes over someone's body without their permission. In Catholic beliefs, the person possessed might be seen as partly to blame, maybe because they let evil into their life. These ideas about spirits add more depth to religious discussions and make us think about the line between faith, the supernatural, and personal blame. When demons live in things, animals, or places, it's called infestation. Subjection is when someone lets a demon control them on purpose. Signs of being possessed include unusual strength, speaking languages the person doesn't know, knowing secret things, saying bad things about holy stuff, getting really angry, and swearing a lot. The Catholic Church says that sometimes people think someone is possessed when they're actually dealing with mental health problems, and it warns not to mix the two up. Exorcisms are supposed to help with possession, but only with permission from a bishop and following strict rules. But many people go to unofficial exorcists instead of following the Church's rules, which makes the world of exorcism even more mysterious. The Gospel of Thomas is one of the early Christian writings left out of the New Testament. This gospel offers a different view of Christianity, which is very different from what many people think of as Christianity today. This different view is especially interesting to people today, no matter what religion they follow. What are your thoughts on these ancient beliefs and practices? The Gospel of Thomas is a collection of 114 sayings believed to be Jesus' words, different from the usual stories of his life. Some sayings are similar to those in Matthew, Mark, or Luke. In 1 Corinthians 2:9, the Apostle Paul interestingly also mentions saying number 17, but most of the sayings in this gospel are unique to it. The name Thomas, meaning twin in Aramaic and Syriac, is key to understanding this text. Although the gospel is linked to Apostle Thomas, he likely didn't write it. Instead, Thomas is depicted as Jesus' spiritual twin, symbolizing a deep spiritual connection. This connection is through gnosis, knowledge of spiritual truth, which leads to salvation. In the Gospel of Thomas, gaining gnosis means understanding the true nature of reality and oneself. It suggests that anyone can reach a mystical closeness to Christ, as stated in saying 108, "Whoever drinks from my mouth will become as I am, and I too will become him, and the hidden things will be revealed to him." This type of knowledge goes beyond normal understanding and can't be fully explained in words. Jesus, instead of giving clear salvation instructions, uses mysterious sayings to push followers from literal to more intuitive thinking. Unlike early Christian beliefs focusing on Jesus' second coming, this gospel views God's kingdom as a present and internal state. Saying 3 says the kingdom of God is within you and all around you, meaning self-awareness leads to recognizing this spiritual condition. What are your thoughts on this interpretation of spiritual knowledge? The Gospel of Thomas presents the kingdom of God not as something waiting in the future, but as a reality that's present right now, accessible through spiritual enlightenment or gnosis. This ancient text, pieced together around the late 1st or early 2nd century AD, offers a unique view compared to other religious writings. Its teachings come from older sayings of Jesus that were shared among the earliest Christians. This gospel doesn't seem to borrow from the New Testament Gospels we know, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Even when similar sayings pop up, the words in the Gospel of Thomas have their own twist, hinting that the author might have had access to different stories or teachings that also shaped the New Testament, but weren't directly taken from it. Interestingly, the Gospel leaves out some sayings from the New Testament that could have helped its own spiritual messages. Despite being pushed aside over time, this Gospel was well known in the past, reaching into the 5th and 6th centuries, with early Christian writers mentioning it. Now only 2 copies exist, a broken Greek version, which was probably the original, and a nearly complete Coptic translation found in the Nag Hammadi library. Switching gears to ancient Egypt, a culture known for its mystic writings like the pyramid texts and the Book of the Dead, there's another intriguing manuscript, the Egyptian Handbook of Ritual Power. This handbook, written in the later Greco-Egyptian language called Coptic, is believed to unveil the secrets of a forgotten Christian sect. Packed with 20 pages of unique spells and enchantments, this book stands out because it introduces spells and curses that don't appear in Egypt's older magical texts. It spins around a mysterious entity called Bakhtiotha, revered as the mighty lord over 49 types of serpents, a detail that's not matched by any other ancient manuscript. What secrets could it be hiding in its ancient pages? Who was Enoch? Enoch is a fascinating character from the Bible. He's not just any character. He's the great-grandson of Adam and the great-grandfather of Noah, placing him in the heart of biblical genealogy. He was known for his deep spirituality and absolute dedication to God. More than just being Methuselah's dad who lived longer than anyone else in the Bible, Enoch had a significant impact, influencing generations. But there's something unique about Enoch. Like Elijah, he didn't die in the usual way. Instead, the Bible tells us he was taken directly to heaven, a mystery that adds intrigue to his story. In Genesis 5:24, it's mentioned that God took Enoch away after he lived 365 years, not 356, avoiding the normal end of life. This special favor from God highlights Enoch's importance and the divine approval of his life. But Enoch's influence doesn't end in the Bible. He's known in Jewish and Christian traditions as a wise man and the supposed author of the Book of Enoch. His teachings and story are recognized in different parts of the Bible, like the Gospel of Luke, the Epistle to the Hebrews, and the Epistle of Jude. He's also venerated as a saint in various Christian traditions. Beyond being a historical figure, Enoch is seen as a powerful preacher who spoke out against corruption and sin, paving the way for Noah and his mission. Enoch's life and mystical experiences lead us to explore texts outside the standard biblical canon. These writings shed light on the deeper aspects of Enoch, bridging the human with the divine in fascinating ways. The Book of Enoch is one such text, diving into themes like divine retribution, the apocalypse, and final judgment. The early sections, chapters 6 to 36, discuss angels, the tree of life, and cosmic secrets. A key part, known as the Watchers section, tells the story of fallen angels, a narrative starting from Genesis 6:1-4. These angels fall from grace by engaging with human women, leading to the birth of the Nephilim and sharing forbidden knowledge, which eventually brings about the Great Flood and the Nephilim's destruction. The Nephilim are described as giants, the fallen ones, stirring debate among scholars. The first book of Enoch, an influential yet non-canonical text, presents these beings as immense, hinting at their extraordinary origins. This has sparked discussions on whether these stories reflect actual unions between divine beings and humans. Another interpretation, more grounded, suggests the Nephilim were merely corrupt men, descendants of Seth, Adam's virtuous son who strayed from God. Contrasting the more fantastical explanations, this viewpoint contends that the daughters of mankind were the sinful offspring of Cain, with the support of historical figures like St. Augustine and other early scholars. Despite the varied interpretations, the sheer scale and warrior-like nature of the Nephilim continue to intrigue and prompt questions about their role in biblical history. In the latter part of Enoch's book, The Parables of Similitude, we venture into apocalyptic visions, revealing prophecies concerning the Son of Man and the Ancient of Days, further deepening the mystery and allure of Enoch's legacy. The old prophecies about Jesus in these books are similar to the stories in the Book of Revelation. The astronomical book, which talks about the roles and meanings of stars, takes you on a fascinating trip into the universe. The Fantasy Visions section reads like a big prophecy that covers the whole story of humanity, from the beginning of time to the end of the world and judgment. It does an interesting job of reflecting the flow of events in the past, present, and future, while keeping them mysterious. The narrative, reminiscent of the Book of Daniel, unfolds in the week's prophecy section, presenting a compelling timeline of human history. The ending serves as Enoch's moral legacy, where he shares wisdom and reminds us of our duty to God. A surprising twist in the tale comes with the sections about Noah, revealing a lesser-known story of his divine mission and highlighting the grief of his father Lamech and grandfather Methuselah. Despite their different styles, all parts unite under the theme of divine retribution for the evil and rewards for the good. The Book of Enoch, while intriguing, presents stories that sometimes deviate from traditional biblical accounts. Contrary to the biblical assertion of Enoch's ascension before Noah's time, an unexpected mention arises in Enoch chapter 10 verses 1 to 3 involving Noah directly. In these verses, a holy conversation unfolds with the Supreme One speaking to the son of Lamech in Uriel's presence, assigning him a vital task for Noah. This message speaks of a great flood meant to cleanse the earth, a concept unfamiliar in the Bible regarding Enoch, since he never returned to earth after his heavenly journey. How then could Enoch have known about Noah and the forthcoming deluge if he was behind the writings of this book? The Book of Enoch makes a striking claim, blaming the corruption of the earth on a demon named Azazel. In chapter 10, verses 8 and 9, Azazel is accused of teaching forbidden knowledge, leading to the earth's defilement. This is intriguing because the Bible mainly discusses Lucifer or Satan without naming other demons. It suggests Satan as the root of evil, with other demonic identities left vague. In contrast, 1 John chapter 3 verse 8 in the Bible highlights the devil's role in originating sin, with Jesus coming to counteract his influences. The Book of Enoch, however, in chapter 13, lines 5 to 6, paints a different picture, suggesting that the fallen angels, including Azazel, felt remorse, a notion not supported by the traditional biblical stance that predicts eternal damnation for Satan and his followers, as seen in Matthew chapter 25, verse 41. The concept of repentance, crucial for salvation, is underscored in the Bible, which portrays God as patient, desiring none to face perdition but to turn from sin. Yet the Book of Enoch presents an odd twist. It claims fallen angels lamented their sins, but believed they could no longer reach out to God, contradicting biblical scenarios where Satan directly converses with God, as seen in the story of Job. The Book of Enoch also offers a unique heavenly vision. Chapter 21, verse 21 describes a celestial city with gold luminous grounds, unlike the biblical golden streets, introducing the concept of a city made from glowing, translucent glass. In chapter 14, verse 10, Enoch depicts heaven with crystal-like brilliance, an image far beyond earthly constructs. The Book of Enoch introduces us to wonders and mysteries beyond our everyday understanding, including astronomical and meteorological phenomena that defy traditional beliefs. In one passage, Enoch claims he has mapped out every star in the night sky, a statement that contrasts sharply with the biblical view in Jeremiah, which suggests the stars are innumerable. This presents a conundrum since modern astronomy confirms the vastness of the universe, far beyond Enoch's claim. Natural elements like wind and snow originate from celestial containers, a notion that diverges significantly from both scientific understanding and other scriptural teachings. These discrepancies might explain why the Book of Enoch was excluded from the Bible. It presents views that are not only unconventional but also contradict established doctrines. These discrepancies contribute to its classification as pseudepigrapha and imply that someone claiming to be Enoch may have written it at a later time. This distinction is crucial for understanding its place in religious texts. Although Jude, a biblical figure, may have referenced the Book of Enoch, it doesn't fully validate the entire book as scriptural truth. The content he referenced supported his specific gospel message, but this doesn't equate to an endorsement of all of Enoch's writings. The quest to understand the Book of Enoch and its teachings is an intriguing journey, filled with the complexities of deciphering historical truths and oral traditions.